featured reader before we open up the open mic is going to be Griselda Castillo. And she was born on a hot griddle in South Texas. She ran off into the mountains of New Mexico as a misguided youth to learn nefarious and spicy things, picking up poetry along the way. She has since seen 3 different colors of oceans, a Mexican lagoon, and a large Midwestern lake in the winter. She now resides in Austin, Texas with 2 dogs and a cat, a total of 4 animals if you count her husband, and her favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to read you all a little mix of everything, some flash fiction, some poetry, and then a translated poem at the end, because I am also a bilingual poet, so I hope you guys like it. This short story is called Chorizo Selecto, and my family's here, so they're going to know if I'm lying. Alrighty, Chorizo Selecto. Mom used to take me with her across the bridge to Nuevo Laredo for things we couldn't find on this side of the border. If we ever needed medicine, a cheaper mechanic, or even some non-FDA approved goods, we were sure to find them in El Otro Lado. You couldn't tell what came from this side or the other if it wasn't for the labels. Our cupboards housed groceries that saw the border as arbitrary, and the stuff we got at the Sorianas cozied up next to the stuff from H-E-B. Mom liked the convenience of shopping in Laredo, said it made her English better. But my dad loved the food he grew up eating, and his appetite is what kept us crossing back and forth across the river. The last time we crossed over together was when Mom and I brought back Chorizo Selecto. You can't get this type of sausage in Laredo, even though you can get tripas, which I think the FDA would consider more of a health concern. Intestines are worse because the dirtier they are, the better they taste, fried up in pig lard, whisked around a cast iron disco. Getting chorizo was the most rewarding errand to run, but also the riskiest because of the drug dogs. The Border Patrol agents were wising up. Mom couldn't pretend she didn't know English anymore, which meant she also couldn't pretend she didn't know we were smuggling contraband. If Dad crossed with us and Mom was more relaxed, he'd let me shove my white shoes into the railing so I could lift up and balance on my stomach. I looked down at the river expecting fish, but don't remember seeing any. Just plastic bags cruising the thick water and the occasional t-shirt tangled in the weeds. We didn't worry about the agents. It's funny to me that chorizo means so much to my father. When they were very poor newlyweds, they owned only a few pieces of furniture, including the hand-me-down table my grandparents gave them as a wedding present. They propped up its broken foot on with a tobacco tin, and one morning Dad accidentally kicked the leg and sent chorizo and eggs crashing down to the floor. It had been the last link, and there was no more work that week, which also meant no money for more chorizo. Chorizo has always been precious to him. I knew when we were getting chorizo because it wound Mom up. The border laws were changing quickly, and dogs sniffed around the bridges most days now. Some of the agents kept their hands on their guns when they asked us for proof of citizenship. One time, Mom got so anxious about the agents, she threw chorizo in the river, afraid of being caught. She hesitated and sighed a lot before she finally tossed it, and we watched it hit the water with a sad splat. She had starved as a kid. This was hard for her to do. On this morning, I sipped hot chocolate as Mom and I watched the back of Dad's truck drive north away from the bridge. It was a bizarrely cold day. The clouds were low and gray and made the hibiscus flowers lining St. Agustin Plaza stay closed, as if they were bundling up to keep warm. Mom had overdressed me. She hurried me to the crossing and forgot her coffee on a bench. Our breath puffed out in front of us as we crossed the bridge. The river looked heavy, pressed flat by the cold. We walked up 2 blocks past the placita to a pink mercado called La Michoacana, where an old man in a white apron and hat was behind the counter. He had a big gray mustache that didn't move even when he laughed and would give me goat milk candies if I didn't lean on the glass counters. I loved this place because of the colors and because it reminded me of the spring. The citrus and spice made me forget it was dreary outside. There were pyramids of oranges, baskets filled with bananas, papayas, melons, and meats hung up behind a glass window. The man with the mustache moved away from the register in front of the customers in line and took our money at the end of the counter. Mom tensed up as he took one slender white box with red lettering from inside the deli case and put it on butcher's paper. He turned the box with the words chorizo selecto faced us, opened the top, and pulled out 12 skinny links he put into a small black plastic bag. He handed the bag to Mom, walked back to the customers in line buying sliced fruit cups dusted with chile. Mom put the bag in her purse and we were on the wet sidewalk headed towards the bridge again. There weren't our dogs sniffing around cars this morning. Mom relaxed and another sleepy agent waved us by. She even smiled, happy we had gotten away with it. Chorizo selecto is a dense small sausage that is made on one farm in Nuevo Laredo. The original farmer and his wife were Grandpa's childhood friends and started making it when Grandma was pregnant with Dad. The same summer, a drought obliterated the onion crop. They dropped off a case of it at Grandpa's tire shop the afternoon Dad was born as a way of saying, "Congratulations on the birth of your son." When I fry chorizo selecto, it crumbles and crisps in a pool of amber fat it releases. Once the meat darkens, I crack eggs over it and stir it with a metal spoon. Chorizo has to be made almost at the end, once the last tortilla comes off the griddle and the beans and salsa have made it to the table. Each plate of chorizo and eggs I eat reminds me of all the things that happened on the days we ventured out to get it. I taste the anxious sweat on Mom's forehead, the green snake of the river, the slick gray asphalt on the bridge, and feel my father's craving pull at me from the town across the border and be sated. My fearless mother is the reason our link to Mexico is kept alive in our American kitchens, evoked by the red smoky meat and chiles from another country. This is a poem called Trade, and I wrote it when I was a very young college student. Trade. The tacos get cold and homesick outside the burrito place beneath red and yellow umbrellas. Someone's tinfoil American flag flaps against an old cottonwood, bullied by the winter wind rushing the gray day along. In Mexico, it'd be a hot October day frying under the sun in its delicious way. The coddling street chatter of vendors and cockfights in the alley, papel picado frames a world seen from under my father's mustache, my naive hand swallowed in his never-ending palm as he lifts me onto a carousel of humid afternoons, warm rain, fertile earth birthing shaggy green banana leaves, mango trees sighing through the eternal summer of Mom cotorreando, watering temperamental purple bougainvillea and exuberant hibiscus, her cooing echoes in the memory of our backyard. But this is New Mexico. An arid adaptation smothers me in unfamiliar chiles. Dry, roasted mornings threaten alienating snows locked in an ache so cold. Even yucca and piñon hunker down, thorns silenced by a creamy blanket. I pour watered-down horchata around dismal flip-flops, throw limp tacos at a weathered potted plant. The cutting never considers what it must endure, embedded in foreign sand. This next poem is called Cars in the Monte. It's got a couple Spanish words in it. Okay, Cars in the Monte. Trader's sun explodes shards of quick light from the periphery like shrapnel. Round, rusted, and burnt out headlamps fry behind cat claw acacia in Cotula. Sun-dried car shells expose themselves. I wonder what mad night that was, to have broken off drunk, end up marooned amongst mesquite with nothing to do except drill the tattered back seat into the ground. Flies bite through skin, jabalina rut and shit between nopales. Today, grackles on telephone wires play the notes of landing. 8 buzzards surround a white-tailed carcass. I am the only other witness to this wake. Okay. This is the last poem that I'm sorry, I got one more. It's a poem called Laundry. It's about family. Laundry. There is small talk about the warranty, about years they've gotten out of them, the expected laundering of words swirl nervous in our tin mouths. We kept the machines in the garage until one broke and we cut it down. Then you hung yourself up a wet blanket on Mother's Day someone else had to cut down. Waiting for the load, my sister sits on the cooler used as a step, cracks a beer. The same beer you two drank to kill time when you'd be here washing clothes. It's a poem called Sardines. It's my last poem. I'm going to read it in English first, and then I'm going to read the translated version in Spanish after that. Sardines. Headless in oval tin cans, bobbing in tomato sauce, sardines remind me of my dad. 5 packed bluebacks, silver belly to silver belly. Tiny collars curved like his back at the table, are the ends of his mustache starting to gray. He'd eat them on crackers, a hunched island snacking, fork dropping like a trident into Siren's hips, blood and oil, soft and salted squares, hauled off on a conveyor belt tongue to the gut, shoals of slick fish swallowed tenderly. If convenient to the mouth, fish will bite, truss supple flesh laced with hooks. A good man, but caught, a sardine drawn to plankton, pulled to shallows by appetites that pierced him through the scales, and in ecstasy, couldn't hear the rings clink together, couldn't see the net closing in on him like a purse. And last poem, Spanish. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I hope you like it. And I'm sure my brother Robert will correct any of my mistakes afterwards. Okay, sardinas. Descabezadas en latas ovaladas, meneando en salsa de tomate, las sardinas me recuerdan de mi padre. 5 espaldas azules empacadas, pancita de plata sobre pancita de plata, los collares chuecos como su espalda, sentado en la mesa, son los puntos de su bigote canoso. Se las comía sobre galletas botoneando, una isla jorobada, dejando caer tenedor como tridente, pescando las caderas de sirenas, aceite y sangre, ensuaveciendo cuadros salados, llevados por su lengua enorme a las tripas, un cardumen de pez tragado tiernamente. Si es conveniente a su boca, el pez mordirá, confiando en la carne suave atada con ganchos. Fue un buen hombre, pero se atrapó. Una sardina atraída al plancton, estirada la vajilla por los apetitos, lanzándola por las escamas, y en su éxtasis no pudo escuchar el tintineo de los anillos. No pudo ver la red encarcelándola en una bolsa. Thank you very much.